the surface fly, living out a wild on the open sky.
Good morning and welcome to the world of Chaosium. That's right, it is I, the OGGM, on this Thursday, the 6th day of February 2025, about 10 o'clock in the morning, 54 degrees and drizzly. We're on and off rainstorms here, so if the thingy goes out, you know why. Got my cup of tea, and today we're continuing our tour of game companies that maybe don't get recognized enough because we're always talking about that other game company who apparently is doing a lot of stupid things. We're talking about Chaosium and Call of Cthulhu, of course, the most popular role-playing game in the world, and basic role-playing, the best role-playing system in the world, considered by many. So the first thing we got to do if we're going to talk about Chaosium, by the way, shout out to Sandy Peterson, the godfather of Chaosium, Call of Cthulhu, Pendragon. I know he was going through some hard times recently, so understand, sir, we are here for you. Please, please, please. Take care of your mental and emotional health first. That always comes before everything else. Okay, so this is the $600 plus bundle drive-through. So that's probably the biggest Chaosium thing right now. This is everything as far as we know for the most current version of Call of Cthulhu. It is $622 for PDF. No physical ones involved in this as far as I know. And it has so many. Pretty much, if it's been made by Chaosium for 7th edition or a third party that Chaosium is approved of, it is available in this bundle. Now, the weird thing is trying to figure out, is it worth it? So let's assume you do not have any Call of Cthulhu product whatsoever, and you want to dive into Call of Cthulhu. So the best way to do that would just to be the Call of Cthulhu starter box set, which might be in this list, right? Because the starter set gives you the boiled down version of the rules. It gives you a sample adventure. It gives you sample characters. Sometimes they come with other things like maps and maybe some of those little cardboard figures and just a dice usually. So it's a good way to start. So, and those usually run about $30, $40. So really that would be all you need. Or the player's handbook for Call of Cthulhu, which you can see right there on the top is that thing. It's, there we go. The big blue book. And with that, that's pretty much, all you would need is the starter set. But let's say, okay, I want to maybe get a couple adventures and some of the support stuff, which is where I would go like, well, most of those maps you could get free online, right? And have you actually read Cthulhu by Lovecraft, or are you just interested in it by word of mouth? But forget that part. You don't really need to read Lovecraft to be a fan of gothic horror, with slime tentacle monsters. Anyway, I want to reread some reviews and understand how Call of Cthulhu, the system is different and how the mindset is different and how playing in Call of Cthulhu might be different than some other role-playing games. All right, so right now we've spent about $80 to $100. We've got at least one adventure. We've got the starter book. We've maybe got the starter set, and we've probably got some dice. So is it worthwhile to pick all this up or not? Mind you, these are PDFs, and you might be somebody who likes hardbacks or PODs. So already you're going, well, why pay that knowing I'm not going to use half of those and they're PDFs? So I still have to either always have the comptometer with me if I want to use these, or I have to print them out, and printing them out to, make it portable so I can use it in a campaign ends up costing me about the same as it would have costed me to buy the physical product. So again, am I saving money by buying every single product as PDF? And I don't know if you are, because the big question is, when would you use these? Okay, I'm a completionist and I have to have everything. And I know that I am alone in my when would you use this mentality. I don't buy games if I don't think I'm ever going to use them. If they sit on my shelf longer than 6 months, I probably will trade them to somebody. If I'm just buying a game to read it, I'd rather just get the PDF and read it on my, my tablet or whatever. To buy a game, just to have the game, knowing I'm never going to use the game, normally is something I don't do. The only exception to that, of course, is my Tales from the Loop and my Electric State, which I bought purely because I love the artwork, knowing full well I'm never going to play those games, probably, but I love them, So they sit on my shelf along with my copy of Basic Role Playing, because it's, pound for pound, possibly one of the best role-playing game systems ever used. But I'm alone in that little mindset. I think we know. Most people like to have the games, even if we secretly know we're never going to use them. That bookshelf completionist. So that means you're probably going to want the physical product. And if you're going to want every physical product that was been made for 7th edition Call of Cthulhu, you got to think about the time and effort it would go to collect them all and how much it would cost you. That way it would cost you more. But if you're not thinking it from a completionist point of view, and you're thinking it of what do I actually need, I think in the long run it's probably less expensive to just buy the starter book and the core rule, maybe in that initial 100, and then you could look at these and go, do I want these? So I don't know if a $700 PDF bundle is worth it unless you're a completionist. And then remember, these are PDFs, so you've got to still go through them on the tablet or whatever. And if you want to use them at the game, you got to bring the tablet with you and hope the game has the internet wherewithal to be able to get the tablet open and to sort through what you need. Or you could be like me and just go, okay, I'm going to print it out. And then if you print it out, you end up spending more money. And then you're be like, why did I spend this money on the PDF if I'm just printing it out? I don't know. But anyways, this is it. I hate to shoot it down. But I don't know. I mean, I don't see the point of getting every single solitary product that's been made PDF simply to have them, unless you really think you're going to use them. And I don't know. I mean, in order to use every one of these, you probably have to live longer than 100 years. But we want to support Chaosium because, we love Call of Cthulhu. We love Chaosium. We love basic role playing. So let's see what's going else in the world of Chaosium. But we had to toss that one out first. Again, shout out to Sandy Peterson I know he's dealing with some personal issues that he mentioned on Twitter. So we are behind you, sir. So this is the Chaosium website. It's very pretty, very well organized, not too overbearing. Here's a list of all the games, of course. Call of Cthulhu, the most well-known. RuneQuest, their fantasy game. Basic role-playing, their core rules. Pendragon, the King Arthur campaign. If there's one of those must-have type games. 7th Sea, their pirate adventure type game that gets probably the least amount of attention, and some other stuff. And then basic role-playing, of course, has the very rarely mentioned Super World, which is their percentile-based superhero system, which I really loved playing back in the day. So we're going to go to the blog to see what's new. So we just talked about this, and then we also have the completionist bundle available on VTT. For Fantasy Grounds, is the same thing. 50th anniversary Call of Cthulhu completionist bundle. This has got pretty much, again, everything that's ever been made and converted to VTT, specifically Fantasy Grounds for Cthulhu. So if you're playing Call of Cthulhu on Fantasy Grounds, again, is it worth it to buy all these, knowing that I will have them all, even if I'm never going to use them? Here's what's coming up from our guys for Q1, Q2, and Q3. Of course, can't see what these say, guys. Notice that Super World never doesn't get any love. But down below, we have a printout of what it says here. So January, they had Jimmy's Last Stands for Rivers of London. February has Quest Worlds. Don't know what Quest Worlds is. You're going to tell us? Is there a link? No. What is Quest Worlds? Is that going back to superheroes? QUESTWRL. Doesn't tell me what Quest Worlds is, just says February is Quest Worlds. And I can't see close enough from the picture to tell what it is. It might be revisiting the other systems that they made for D100 besides Cthulhu and the more well-known ones. Is there any information on Quest Worlds? There we go. What is Quest Worlds? Upcoming Quest Worlds. Quest Worlds is a setting-agnostic role-playing game from Chaosium. Stay tuned. It's a rules-light RPG system that facilitates beginning play easily and revolves content. It features an abstract conflict-based resolution method. The rules originated in the year 2000 Hero Wars, and then published in Hero Quest and the new second edition of Hero Quest Gloranthian. Other Worlds released in SRD in 2020, once again to make the rules engine generic. So it's not percentile, it's a different rule system. And it looks like it's trying to do a generic. We've got a superhero, we've got a blaster dude, we've got a lady, and we've got a guy, and they're fighting robots. I can't really tell what's going on. But there is this SRD. It just gives me to another link, another link, another link. Just it looks like it's different than the BRP. But other than that, I don't know. Okay. In March, we have the Game Master's Handbook for Pendragon. We also have the Keeper's Guide to Cthulhu by Gaslight. I'm not sure what the difference between Cthulhu by Gaslight and normal Cthulhu is, because they both take place in a, Victorian Gothic England to start, Victorian Gothic Europe to start, and then you spread out for the rest of the world. Victorian Gothic, Industrial Age, and Gaslight. Aren't those the same thing? Maybe they're not. I don't know. Then we have in April, we have Cults of RuneQuest, the Gods of Fire and Sky for RuneQuest. We have Age of Vikings, which looks like it's going to be a Viking-based system using the stuff. For Rivers of London in June, we've got Liberty Shadow, a source book for the USA in the Rivers of London universe. In June, we have the Sulta of Pale Leaves, Twin Sun Rising for Call of Cthulhu. I guess that's an adventure. That's this thing right here. We just looked at Quest Worlds. They're going to be at different conventions. Here's their convention schedule. They're going to be May 23rd to the 25th in Carnfield, UK. We've got the Chaosium Con. I'm sure they'll be at other conventions, but that's that one. Got some Pendragon fictions. We've got some applications that were up for if you wanted to work at the conventions. And that seems to be it. So the two big things that they're doing is introducing Quest Worlds, which doesn't tell me much about it other than it's a system that's different than basic role-playing. And the big... I think it's the system for RuneQuest maybe, or HeroQuest, but I don't know. I'm going to look into it more. But yeah, so the $600 mega pack and the coming attractions for the 2025 doesn't look like they have a lot coming out, but do they really need to? As long as they keep supporting the generic core games that they know are their money makers, Call of Cthulhu and Pendragon first and foremost, then RuneQuest, then the others, I think they're okay. Call of Cthulhu is the most popular role-playing game in Asia, and it's pretty popular in Europe. It doesn't have as much notoriety in the USA as it does in other countries, but it's also very popular in USA. The story of just being able to use basic role-playing to run anything people showing up at your house 3 o'clock in the morning. They want to play vampire. What do? You pull up basic role playing and you just use that because it's just percentile and it's such a easy system, considered by many to be one of the best, if not the best system ever made. That isn't, of course, D20. But I don't know if there's a lot of people who actually think the D20 engine is that great. It's kind of just like, it's there. Basic role playing is definitely one of my top 3 desert island role playing games. Like if I could only take one game with me, I would argue, I've gone through this before. It's like, well, what is it easier to find in the wild, D6 or percentile? If I'm trapped on a desert island or in the apocalypse, am I going to find percentile dice, in the wild? But I'm probably going to find 6-sided dice in the wild, no question. And if I'm on a desert island, is it better that I'm going to find a 6-sided rock or a 100-sided rock? I'm probably going to find a rock that has 6 sides. I probably have a better chance of finding a rock that I can use to emulate generating randomly 6-siders that I could to randomly generate 100 sides or a percentile. So, yeah, I mean, number 1, I would grab a D6 system. Number 2, I'd grab this. If I can only bring one system with me, end of the world, can only bring one game system with me, it's going to be a D6 system because I know I can find D6s anywhere. But if I have 2 choices, that would be my second choice. Because, you can just run anything. But I can run anything with a D6 system. And now I'm just blabbering. That's the Chaosium news. As we meander through the tabletop role-playing game community. Games that don't get as much love as they should because we're investing so much time in what stupid things that company in Seattle is doing. Today is Chaosium, creators of Call of Cthulhu. The works of H.P. Lovecraft on the appendix and must read. I've read some Lovecraft. It's hard to read. It's definitely hard to read. But it is the birth of a generation of, horror. We wouldn't have tentacle horror and tentacle hentai without H.P. Lovecraft. So, yeah. Tentacles.